Welcome everybody to the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show with your host Steve D'Angelo, back for Week 18 NFL picks. We got a crazy week. A lot of teams aren't playing for nothing. A lot of teams are playing to get into the playoffs. A lot of teams obviously resting players. Fantasy seasons are over. Hopefully took down some Super Bowls. I would say it was a decent season for me. I won a couple. Didn't get to where I really wanted to get. Came up just short in Survivor. My highest finish in fantasy was a 29th in the Circa Championship out of 1,000 teams. But again, you had to finish top 25 to cash. I did win that league. And then in the RotoWire NFC, my highest finish was 299 out of 4,800 teams. So a little underwhelming. Overall, the FFPC, I was absolutely terrible. Darren Waller absolutely killed me. Won my first ever league to take that title home. Won a couple NFC leagues. Won one FFWC league, and advanced in a super flex league. I had a couple DraftKings best ball teams that went to the semifinals. One team I thought was definitely going to advance, didn't advance. But the NFL picks is why we're here. Week 18, one more week until the NFL playoffs. 7 teams on each side, obviously going to be headlined by the Bills, Dolphins, Sunday night in Miami for the division. The Bills potentially could not even make the damn playoffs if Pittsburgh and the Jaguars both win. Pittsburgh will start things off on Saturday against the Ravens, who are sitting everybody. They have the number 1 seed clinched there, so they're sitting everybody. Huntley's going to be started for them. They're sitting basically everybody. They're going to want to come out, healthy. So, yeah. And then the Titans and the Jaguars play. The Titans, they might be playing for something there. A little pride. You got Henry, you got Vrabel. Could be Henry's last game as a Titan. So, Jags have a little more competition, I think, especially with the way they've been playing. They bounced back a little bit last week. But, this could potentially be Sunday night between the Bills and the Dolphins. And we're looking at the Bills, either winning or not even making the damn playoffs, which would be absolutely insane. But we will get to all that. Let's go over our record for the year. Currently, we are 64, 54, and 2. We went 7-3 last week in week 17. So very, very nice week with 10 picks, 7-3. Very, very solid. So week 2, we were 2-1. Week 3, 6-0. Week 4, 3-2. 3 straight winning weeks. Week 5, 3-6. Week 6, 2-4. 3 straight losing weeks. Then week 7, 7-2. Bounce back. Week 8, 3-5. Week 9, 1-3. Week 10, 3, 4-1. Week 11, 3-5. 4 straight losing weeks. So very up and down. But then week 12, we go 7-2. Week 13, 3-1. Week 14, 7-4-1. So we're back to 3 in a row. And then week 15, 3-5. Week 16, 4-7. Dropped 2 in a row. And then last week, another bounce back. 7-3, 64, 54-2 on the year for a percentage of 54.4%. So, we'll take it. I mean, we are in the winning circle right now. We're going to go right all the way up to the Super Bowl. So we'll see where we'll end, but this will be the last week of the regular season, obviously. Let's see what we got for week 18. We'll talk about some of the scenarios a little bit, some of the players that will be sitting a little bit. We'll get into that, and then we'll headline it all at the end with the Buffalo Dolphins game, which should be a pretty damn good game. I was looking at tickets for that game. Being in Florida, it's like the cheapest ticket now is like $250, basically all the way up. Everything is sold out. There's some tickets laying around, obviously secondhand, but I don't think I'm going to make it down there. But let's get into it, guys. Let's get into week 18. When we come back, Fantasy Savvy Weekly. This will be also broadcasted on the Face Off Sports Network. Thanks to Anthony and those guys. And follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. Let's get into week 18. Let's go. Welcome to the Fantasy Savvy Weekly Show with your host, Steve D'Angelo, discussing high-stakes fantasy football, NFL picks, and much more. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And Ryan says, it's the kid. What's up to Ryan? Hope he's chilling out there over in Jersey. Thanks for checking in. What's up? I hope everybody is off to a good new year. It started out a little rough. I just got my mom out of the hospital. She hit the flu, hit her pretty damn hard. She's got some memory issues, but she's doing better. We got her out today, and she's in bed right now chilling. So thank God for that. Thanks everybody for their prayers. So just very, very grateful and feeling good that she's home. So let's get into the week 18 picks. First game. I wasn't going to take this initially because, Mason Rudolph, I've been clowning the guy before he came in and started again, calling him Matt Damon in school ties, disgusting, Myles Garrett freaking ripping off his helmet and he calling the guy a bitch. Not Myles Garrett, some other guy pushed him down. That was the last we seen of Mason Rudolph. And then he comes back, and I got to give him props because he turned around my boy, George Pickens. And George Pickens is like one of my, coming into the fantasy season was one of my favorite players. The talent, it was all there, obviously. Obviously Pickett, Matt Canada, that, running the ball, passing, the freaking 300 streaks for George Pickens, not throwing the ball, not getting him the targets he needs. Then Matt Canada gets fired. Pickett comes in looking a little bit better. The offense is looking a little bit better. Then he gets hurt, and then it turns to a shit show. The Steelers really start to struggle. Mitch Trubisky's an absolute disaster. And George Pickens is like totally erased after that. So, Mason Rudolph, I had all my doubts on this guy, but he has unleashed George Pickens. And, George Pickens has showed how talented he is going off in the fantasy playoffs, securing, fantasy championships, maybe some best ball championships coming alive late. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to take this initially, but the more I think about it, the Ravens here, going with Huntley, resting all their players, they do have the bye week. Maybe they'll play some starters a little bit to keep them fresh. But the Steelers, this is a huge game for them. They're still fighting for the playoffs here. They have to win this game. So they are going to battle hard in this one. They're going to go all out. Mike Tomlin will have them ready. Some people talking, Mike earlier in the season, Mike Tomlin should be fired. But, Mike Tomlin just continues to get it done year after year after year after year. And another winning season for the Steelers here at 9-7. So we are going to stick with Tomlin and the Steelers here, giving 3. Now, it might seem a little obvious. That's the reason I kind of didn't want to take it initially, because it's just like, the Steelers are playing for something. The Ravens aren't playing for something. But it still is the Ravens, still is Harbaugh. They're still going to try to go out there and win the game, get some momentum, going into the playoffs, get that good feeling. So they will really bring it. And Huntley certainly is capable. I mean, we saw him last year nearly beat the Bengals in the playoffs. He had that fumble at the end of the game there, and the Bengals took it, the other way for a touchdown and got the W. But I just think with Mason Rudolph, with Pickens unleashed, you got Najee, Jaylen Warren, Freiermuth, the Steelers defense, TJ Watt. I think with Tomlin, they'll get it done. The Ravens could, just realize they're sitting their players. They're going to take this week off, get healthy, be ready for whoever wins going into the divisional round as the 1 seed at home, coming off, absolutely beating up the 49ers and the Dolphins. So that's going to be our first pick on Saturday to kick things off. Week 18, 4:30, ESPN is going to be the Steelers minus the 3. Okay, next pick. And the second game, Saturday night, Texans Colts, obviously another huge game. Potentially one of these teams could win the AFC South. Could the loser, still could get it. I mean, the winner, even if the Jags win, the winner could still get into the playoffs. The Jags win, they have the AFC South, but whoever wins this game could still make it into the playoffs. I think that actually they are in if they make it, if they win. It will be close with the Steelers. But whoever loses is definitely out. So that's another huge game between the Colts and the Texans. Initially, I think I lean to CJ Stroud, but I don't know. I mean, the Colts already beat them, 31-20, and I think all the way back in week 2. I don't know. I'm going to stay away from that game. I could see either team winning. Obviously I like Stroud. The big talk this week is he terrorizes, beats up on cover 3, and that's basically all the Colts play. So it kind of seems like too obvious of an angle there. So I'm just going to stay away, enjoy the game. Maybe I'll put a little bit on the Texans or the over or something, but I'm not going to take anything officially there. So we'll pass on that. Browns, Bengals. The Browns are sitting everybody. They have that pretty much. I think they're locked into the 2 seed. Or I'm sorry, the 3 seed there. So the Browns, they can't really do anything different. They're just going to stick there at the 3 seed. They're resting guys. The Bengals, they're favored by 7. I don't know. Maybe the Browns do a little something and win the game, cover the spread, but I'm going to stay away from that too. Vikings, Lions. The Lions look like they're playing everybody. They're going to play all their guys. Dan Campbell just wants momentum. The Vikings still have a shot at the playoffs as well. Nick Mullins is going to come back. O'Connell tried Jaron Hall last week. It didn't work out. He looked absolutely terrible, absolutely not ready. And the Packers took care of business against the Vikings. And, he went to Mullins in the second half. And, it was just a little too late. But, that'll be a battle. I'm just going to stay away from that, though, too. 3.5, no opinion. Jaguars, Titans, like I mentioned, Jaguars win that game. They have the AFC South. The Titans just playing for pride. Jaguars favored by 4 in that game. But, again, could be Derrick Henry's last game. It's going to be Ryan Tannehill. He's going to be starting over Will Levis. It's definitely his last game as a Titan. So, he's been there a long time. He's going to want to go out hard. He's going to want to showcase for, NFL teams. So Hopkins, he's going to bring it. Vrabel's going to bring it. Henry's going to bring it. That's why I'm saying the Titans have a little more juice, I think, than the Ravens, who are kind of just going to sit back, want to get ready for the playoffs and relax. Whereas the Titans are going to just want to play for pride. You got, legendary players there in like Derrick Henry, not to say Tannehill's legendary, but a veteran of the team, been there for a long time. He's going to want to go out hard with Vrabel as well. He's going to have those guys ready to play. And the Jaguars, going for the division, but still without Christian Kirk. I feel like they're kind of a different team without Christian Kirk. I think it's really affected them. You still expect them to win here on the road, but it's not going to be as easy as it looks. Jets, Patriots, forget about it. I was thinking about taking the Patriots, but when I match it up, I think the line is kind of right on the money at Patriots -2. I believe Trevor Siemian is getting another start. Probably be an absolute shit show. Maybe the under's the play here. Total is 30.5. That probably is the play, actually. I mean, this total could be like 10-7. I might even just throw that in there right now, actually. You know what? I'm going to make that an official play right now. Jets, Patriots. Under the 30.5. Definitely. I mean, why not? Freaking Trevor Siemian against freaking Bailey Zappi. Patriots defense has been playing pretty damn well of late, or a little bit improved, causing some more frustrations. Belichick's going to want to get his defense ready. The Jets defense has been laying down a little bit. Maybe they lay all the way down here, but Saleh, Woody Johnson came out and said, your job's secure. I think he said that a little too early, because we've been seeing the Jets defense lay down a little bit here. But I'm going to make that the 8th pick of the week. Jets, Pats under 30.5. I mean, this could be like a 6-3 final. I mean, I can't see any more than 30 points. I really just can't see it now that I really think about it. So I mean, unders are boring as shit, but you don't even need to watch it. Just take it and sleep like a baby. Don't have to worry about it. Just, check the score later. It should be probably 9-6, 13-10, unless there's like, 3 or 4 defensive touchdowns, which is also possible. But obviously, the chances of that aren't high. So let's go with that for a little add-in pick on the show. And sometimes I do that. I improvise a little bit. So we'll stick that under there, the 30.5. That's going to be pick 2 going into Sunday. Okay, next pick here, Falcons Saints. Falcons get, beat up going to Chicago. 2 weeks ago, they played solid at home. They beat up on Minshew and the Colts. Taylor Heineke, he's come in, kind of revived the team a little bit, I guess. They've had quarterback problems all year with Desmond Ridder, being a disaster. Heineke not looking as good as he, was on the Commanders. Arthur Smith not using Bijan, not using Bijan. Algier's been running pretty well. Cordell Patterson. But the Saints, the team that knocked me out of the freaking Survivor last week, taking the Bucs at home, thought the Bucs would clinch the division with Baker playing so damn well, winning 4 in a row. I should have took the Bears. The Falcons going up to Chicago, dome team, back of my boy Fields. Everybody doubting Justin Fields. I backed Baker, who I've never liked, and the freaking guy lets me down. They had a little push late. They actually had a chance to freaking make a miracle comeback, but it was just a little too late. So the Saints stay alive. Carr plays a good game. He's really found a nice little connection with Olave. Kamara, questionable for this game, but I don't think it matters. I still think they can figure things out. Rashid Shaheed's in the starting lineup. He's getting more playing time. We saw Juwan Johnson have a very nice game last week, and I think that continues as well. Juwan Johnson's a guy that took in a million best ball league. So if you're playing DFS this week, I like Juwan Johnson again to stay hot here with Derek Carr. So who do we like between the Falcons and the Saints? I'm going to go with the Saints here. I think they're going to get it done at home. I think they're the better football team. I like Derek Carr a hell of a lot more than I like Taylor Heineke. I like Olave connection. AJ Terrell, I think he can beat him. You got Rashid Shaheed. You got Juwan Johnson again in the mix. You got Taysom Hill. Actually, when I was just in the hospital, one of the nurses was related. She was cousins with Taysom Hill, and she was telling me how, he's an amazing person. It was pretty cool. They're from Idaho. It was pretty cool to meet somebody that was, family with Taysom Hill, and she was saying that Taysom Hill's brother was actually even a lot more talented than Taysom Hill. Unfortunately, he passed away at a young age, but he was an incredible basketball player. So that was kind of cool to hear. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Saints here, minus the 3 at home. I think Carr and company get it done. They stay, relatively alive. They have an outside shot for the playoffs if they win. The Saints obviously need some help. So the Saints need to win, and they need Tampa to lose to the Panthers, or they need to tie, and they need Tampa to lose. So they could tie, or they could win, tie. I mean, it's always possible. Or they could win. They can get Seattle to lose and Green Bay to lose. That's another scenario for them as well. So they have a couple outs here. They have a chance. They're going to be playing for a lot. Like I said, the Falcons also still have a chance. They need to win, and they need Tampa to lose as well. Saints have, one more out than Atlanta. But I like the Saints here to get it done based off them going to Tampa last week, taking care of business. So I think they get it done here for pick 3. Saints minus 3, 1 o'clock on CBS on Sunday. Okay, now we're going to switch over to the 425 games. Real quick, I'll go over Bucks, Panthers. Bucks clinch the AFC South if they beat the Panthers there. So, obviously huge opportunity for the Bucks. And if the Bucks lose, they'd be out. They could potentially be out if, the Saints win. if the Falcons win. So the Bucks need to absolutely win this game. They can go from winning the division to being out, and they're going to play a Panthers team, obviously with Bryce Young that has struggled all year. They're 2-14. They beat the Falcons, they beat the Texans. Those are 2 wins. Bryce Young played really good 2 weeks ago, probably his best game, and then another shit game last week. But they'll be playing hard. The Panthers will be playing hard. They'll know they want to play spoiler. So it's definitely a game where the Bucks going to have to bounce back quick. Baker took a shot in the ribs there at the end. He said he's going to do everything to be out there, probably take some painkillers, but he might not be 100%. So I don't know. 4.5 for Tampa. Maybe I lean the Panthers, but then again, I could see the Bucks just taking care of business here. Baker, staying healthy. Mike Evans all day long. Chris Godwin, Rashad White, the whole team bouncing back. So I'm going to stay away from that. The next game, Bears-Packers. This game has a lot of implications as well. The Packers need to win this game to get into the playoffs. The Bears playing spoiler here, but the big story is, we talked about it last week. Should the Bears stick with Justin Fields, or should they move on to Khalil Williams, Jaden Daniels, or Michael Penix? Look at how good he looked freaking in the bowl game, in the semifinal game. He looked absolutely awesome taking care of Texas, just throwing dart. I kind of was wondering about Penix. I don't watch a ton of college football. I've seen a little bit of them. But I thought he had like a little bit of a noodle arm, especially on his deep ball, kind of like Tua-like. And we saw one ball that kind of hung up there a little bit, but short to intermediate, even a little bit further, he throws it, definitely NFL hard enough. Again, like Tua, very, very accurate. And what I was most impressed though was the way he was avoiding pressure, his pocket presence, and how quick his release was and how accurate he was throwing those balls. So I came away really impressed. He struggled with 2 ACL injuries. He's kind of been banged up. He played at Indiana. Then he went to Washington. And, this team beat Oregon twice. They're undefeated. And, I like them against Michigan. So we'll give you a freaking final pick in the college. I'm taking the points, the 4.5 with Washington. We'll just make that an official pick right now. We'll put it down. Our first college pick of the year, but we'll throw it in there. Washington take the 4.5, and I think I'm going to take the over. I think it was 56 when it first came out, or I think it's up to 58, or it was 54 and it's up to 56. Nevertheless, I think I'm just going to, take the over, but I like Washington a little bit more. And you could always tease it up, but yeah, the way Penix is playing, the Alabama-Michigan game, I didn't think that Alabama, was really they looked rusty as shit. Michigan looked a little rusty too, but Jalen Monroe, I think he's a little young. I think he was getting in a rhythm in that Georgia game, and I think that time off kind of hurt them in the offense a little bit. If they played again, the following week, I think Bama probably would win. And obviously Bama had a chance, not even playing that great. They're all in Milroe, not even playing that great either. But yeah, I like Washington in that game plus the points, and then also the over in that game as well. But yeah, back to Bears Packers. Packers need this game to make the playoffs. They are in with a win. They could also get in with a Minnesota loss and a Seattle loss and a Tampa loss, or a Minnesota loss, Seattle loss, and New Orleans loss. So if they lose, they need a lot of help. If they win, they control their own destiny. They're in the damn playoffs. So all they got to do is win to get in Lambeau. You think they get it done here. Aaron Rodgers not calling it a rivalry. Justin Fields saying, he's clapping back a little bit, saying there's nothing to do in Green Bay but watch football. So their fans are going to be loud. So
get in here. I got one thing to say. This is when the big dogs come out. Okay?
And Justin Fields run with the big dogs. And Justin Fields, like I said, he's been my guy. I stood out for him last year, said breakout year for him in fantasy. He did it. He was awesome. Was a stud. Many people doubted him coming into this year. People still doubt him. I think the Bears should keep him, build around him. They have the first pick. Maybe they could trade down. They could take Harrison, the trade down, get more picks. They have another pick later in the draft. So they could really just build around Justin Fields. His teammates love him. The city loves him for the most part. And there's a lot of Bears fans that doubted him. I mean, they were calling for freaking Tyson Bagent, calling him better than Justin Fields. It was just lunacy. But, sometimes fans do that. We saw that last year with the Jets, that Mike White syndrome they had. I think he's the greatest thing that, ever happened. Mike White, the Jets players wearing Mike White t-shirts. So it happens. But I think the Bears should keep Fields, and Fields has a chance to shut all the haters up, shut all the doubters up, go into Lambeau, freaking take care of business, potentially knock the Packers out of the playoffs, and become like a little bit of, the Bears fans, if he goes into Lambeau, knocks the Packers out of the playoffs in Lambeau, he's going to be very, very, very popular. There's no way the Bears can move off him at that point. If he loses, I would say it's 50-50. Now, I'd still keep Fields, but I'm just saying if he loses to Green Bay, even if he plays amazing, I could still see them moving off of him, which I still think is a mistake because we still don't know what these guys are going to do in the NFL. And we've seen Fields succeed against pretty much any team. Obviously he's throwing, reading defenses, processing things, showed flaws at times. But, I think he's improved mightily from the beginning of the season to the end of the season. And he played a hell of a game against Atlanta in that weather, throwing dimes to DJ Moore, threw a dime to Tyler Scott, couldn't come down with it. You continue to build around him. I think that's the Bears' best shot. Their defense looks good. Maybe get rid of Luke Getsy. Do you bring back Eberflus and Luke Getsy? We'll see. You kind of maybe want to continue with the same coaching. But I would lean Bears in this game. I didn't want to make it an official pick, but I would lean Bears. I would take a little bit on the money line. But it's just the one thing that scares me is just the Packers and Lambeau. And they're just a traditional, class, good things happen to them type of organization. So and the Bears have lost so many damn close games. One of the reasons I went off them in Survivor last week. But I'll back my boy Justin's a little bit here again. I'm rooting for him hard to win this game in Lambeau. So I'll lean the Bears, but not an official pick. Broncos, Raiders, 425. Raiders, Peter says he's going all out. He's starting everybody. We'll see freaking, Aiden O'Connell once again for the Raiders. They played tough in Indianapolis last week, and Jared Stidham will get the start for the Broncos. Russ is, pretty much done, although he's probably going to be a backup again. But, I'd lean the Raiders, but this game means nothing for either team. Both teams are out from last week, so nothing there. But we're going to go to the Eagles, Giants in the Meadowlands. Philly's giving 5.5. Giants getting 5.5. And this is going to be our fourth and fifth picks of the day. And we're going to take the Giants plus the 5.5. Now, the Eagles, they could still win the division if they win and the Cowboys lose, but they know the Cowboys aren't going to lose to the Commanders. And the Cowboys are playing at the same time. They'll probably see the freaking score at halftime. Cowboys are up by 10 or 13, whatever. The Cowboys are favored by 13 in this game. The Eagles deep down know that they're not going to win this game. They're not going to win the division, I think. The Cowboys, I just can't see them blowing it to the Commanders. This is a shot. But Devonta Smith is out. The Eagles aren't playing good football. They've just been straggling along. They played the Giants 2 weeks ago, and they barely beat them. Looked flat. Lost to the Cardinals. They've looked flat in a lot of games. Their defense hasn't played well. They lost to the Jets. They lost to the freaking Cardinals. And the Cardinals give them credit. They did beat the Cowboys early in the year too, but their offense isn't the same. It's still good, but it's not the same. It's not as consistent. Their defense has been a hot mess. Led the league in sacks last year. Now they got Hassan Reddick dropping back into coverage. So it's total difference. The switch to Matt Patricia doesn't seem like it's helped much. So I'm going to go with the Giants. Giants are going to play all out. Tyrod, Waller, Saquon, Wandale, Hyatt, the defense. This is going to be a big game for. This is going to be a big game for the. Sorry, guys. This is going to be a big game for the Giants. I had a little ad pop up there. So I think the Giants are going to come out hungry. They're going to come out wanting to get revenge here on the loss 2 weeks ago. The last game, go out Dable. Going to want to come out firing here. And finish this season good, where the Eagles are just going to want to just stay healthy, get into the playoffs. They know they're not going to win the division. Maybe they play hard a little bit for the first quarter, second quarter, but again, they'll be scoreboard watching. They'll see the Cowboys are up a touchdown, 10, maybe 2 touchdowns. They know the Commanders don't have a shot. They know the Commanders suck. Although the Commanders played them tough twice. I just think the Eagles just are not a confident team right now. And maybe they want to come out, and play hard to the playoffs, come out and get some momentum, into the playoffs. But I'll go with the Giants. I'll take the points, the 5.5. And I'm also going to take the over in this game of the 41.5. Philly's defense stinks. I think Philly will put up some points. I think Tyrod Taylor will put up some points. And, I think we see like a 26-20, 26-23, maybe even a 31 27, possible. I see a lot of points, over the 41.5. So I'm going to take that for pick 4 and pick 5, 41.5 and 5.5. Giants, Eagles. Chargers is going to be my next pick, minus the 3.5 against the Chiefs. Chiefs resting everybody. We're going to see freaking Blaine Gabbert in this excuse me. In this game, he stinks. Chiefs are they're resting everybody pretty much. They're locked into their spot. I think they have the 4 seed no matter what, so they don't care much. They got the division locked up. They got the home game. From the right outside, from the left outside. From up the middle, they come with blood in their eye. Yeah, I think the Chargers, with the interim coach, we saw Easton Stick a couple weeks ago play the Bills pretty damn tough at home. They almost beat the Bills. So what are they going to do to a Chiefs team with Blaine Gabbert, resting everybody pretty much? We're not going to see Rashee Rice. We're not going to see Kelsey. We're not going to see Mahomes. They're going to be resting. Chris Jones is going to be out. The corner is going to be out. This is just going to be a freaking, let's just get healthy. We know we're the 4 seed. Let's just get to the playoffs and get out. And the Chargers, this game means absolutely shit for them other than pride. For the interim coach, I think he'll want to go out on a good note, maybe potentially keep his job. I doubt it's going to happen. Easton Stick, again, looked good a couple weeks ago against the Bills. Keenan Allen's not going to play, but they'll get Josh Palmer back from the concussion symptoms. Eckler probably want to go out on a good note. So I'll take the Chargers here, minus the 3.5, even though it's just kind of a womp pick. But we'll take the Chargers there. Seahawks, Cardinals. Seahawks playing for a lot as well. They're -3 going to Arizona. Seattle needs to win, and they need Green Bay to lose. So they need help, but they're going to be playing hard for sure. The Packers are also playing at 4:25, so simultaneously with the Seahawks. So, and like I said, there's a good chance the Packers could lose that game. So we could see Seattle and Geno and Pete Carroll and Tyler Lockett, DK, Jackson Smith, Kenny Walker, all in the playoffs, which I would welcome for sure. The Packers will be fun to see too. I mean, Jaden Reed, man, talk about DFS this week and fantasy football next year. I mean, he took a drag route last week and like he just turned on these burners. I didn't even know he had. I think that was the fastest I've seen him play, run all year. Or maybe I missed a couple clips this year, but man, he looked damn good. So I want all the Jaden Reed I could muster next year. Jordan Love, number 5 fantasy quarterback. And I noticed it early. I noticed that early on, he was really, looked pretty good. And then he struggled for like 2-3 weeks. Looks like he really went backwards. I didn't know if he was going to come back again. And he did come back, and he's been pretty consistent ever since. Even though Watson's been banged up, even though Reed's been banged up, Wicks has been out of the lineup. He lost Musgrave, but I think Tucker Kraft's better anyway. Aaron Jones has been out most of the year. A.J. Dillon's not going to play in this game, but they'll still have Aaron Jones, which is absolutely fine. But anyways, the Seahawks need to win. They need the Packers to lose, but I'm not going to make that official pick because the Cardinals are sneaky, man. I just think James Conner was like all fired up after the Eagles game. Maybe that was like, they went all out in that game, but I think the Cardinals are going to come out hard again. They're going to want to play spoiler. Kyler Murray got into the season late. Gannon's looked pretty damn good, in his rookie season. Give him credit. Playing with Dobbs and, just rookie coach. But good win last week. They also beat the Cowboys. They played a couple other teams tough. So I kind of like Seattle a little bit, but the Cardinals are just a little bit tricky. Although I kind of want to take Seattle. I kind of lean it because I love Carroll in big spots, and I think they'll probably get it done. And it's going to be a little bit of maybe a little bit of emotional letdown for the Cardinals after last week. So you know what? We're going to add this freaking pick, man. We're going to freaking add it. We're going to improvise once again. And we are going to add the Seattle Seahawks minus the 3 against the Cardinals. So we added the Pats Jets under. So that's going to make it 9 picks for the week now. The Jets Pats under 30.5, and then Seattle minus 3. The more I don't know, I talked myself into it here. So let's go with Seattle minus the 3 against the Cardinals. All right. Rams, Niners, both teams sitting players. Rams will start freaking Carson Wentz. The Niners will start Sam Darnold. And actually have a pick on the Rams here. I'm going to go with the Rams. You're going to give me 4 points. I think Carson Wentz is better. I'm going to go Golden Boy music here. I think Carson Wentz is better than Sam Darnold. And the Niners are going to be sitting all their guys. They're going to want to be healthy. Obviously, they got the week off, but they are the 1 seed. But I'll take the Rams, man. They're going to be sitting everybody pretty much too. I'll take Carson Wentz plus the 4 against Sam Darnold. 4 points, shit. If it was like, an even spread or maybe 1 or 2 points, maybe not. But you give me 4, the Rams definitely could lose, but it should be a close game, I would think. And, maybe freaking Wentz turns it over 17 times, which he's definitely prone to. But Darnold is a turnover machine him damn self. So, lots of turnovers probably. Maybe we get a decent amount of points because, 2 good systems here between the Rams and the Niners with Shanahan, with McVay. And Wentz was signed a little bit later, but he's been there for, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 weeks now. Maybe a little bit longer than that. So let's just go with the Rams here. Plus the 425 on Fox in San Francisco. Cowboys, Commanders. Again, Cowboys win. They got the division. Cowboys are in the playoffs regardless, but they definitely want to win that division, become the 2 seed. Cowboys 8-0 at home this year. So if they can get that 2 seed, they get 2 playoff games at home before they have to potentially play the Niners. The Niners get beat somehow. and they could just have a home all the way to the freaking potentially Super Bowl. Cowboys are just a different team at home. So you expect them to get it done here, but 13's a big number. Sam Howell's been absolutely shit. He could just completely fall off the map. But he's going to want to bounce back again. Bieniemy, we've seen them play good at times. The Cowboys freaking demolished them a couple weeks ago in Dallas. The Commanders got smoked 45-10. So I think the Commanders are, gonna want to go on this, out on a high note. Howell's gonna want to go out on a high note. Bieniemy, Rivera is probably gone. But I still think he commands respect. I think obviously Bieniemy commands respect. You got Terry McLaurin, you got Jahan Dotson, Gibson, Brian Robinson, Curtis Samuel, Logan Thomas. So there's still a lot of talent on this Commanders team offensively. So they could backdoor this. This could be just an over here, 46.5. But again, I could see the Cowboys just dominating, 31-10, 34-10. So it could go under, or it could be, a 30-27 game. Most likely if the Commanders cover, it's going to go over. But I just can't take it. I don't have a good feel on it either way. So no pick there. And then the last pick, this is the game of the week in Miami. Bills Dolphins Sunday night. The Bills, again, they're going to know if the Steelers win, which I expect them to against the Ravens, and the Titans win. The Jaguars win against the Titans, which is, again, a little bit more tricky. But you still think the Jaguars would win because they're playing for the division there and a home game week one. First round of the playoffs. The Bills could be potentially playing for win or go home, all the way to the 2 seed or out. Now, if the Steelers or the Jags lose, they could still lose this game and make the playoffs and become either the 6 or a 7 seed. So, obviously a huge difference there. How much does that, John, these stupid ads, how much does that change the Bills' attitude? Say if, the Steelers or Jaguars lose, definitely gives them a sigh of relief. Maybe they let their foot off the pedal a little bit. But at the same time, you get that 2 seed. Again, you get 2 home games in a row. That's huge. You could potentially, get home throughout the playoffs if the Ravens get knocked off. So this is a huge game regardless. I think the Bills are going to want to go out and go into Miami, take care of business, put it all together. And Josh Allen has absolutely owned the Dolphins in the regular season. He's 9-2. He's got 110.8 passer rating with 31 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. And he's also got 571 rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns against the Dolphins. They beat him up earlier in the year. I think he's 2-1 against this Tua-led Mike McDaniel's Dolphins team. But still, 9-2, 31 touchdowns, 5 picks. So there's something going there with Allen against his Dolphins. And Bills Mafia, they were already going. They bought, a lot of these guys bought tickets early, but a whole freaking shitload of them bought more tickets after this game was announced with the stakes on the line. So there's no way.
The heroes of the 60s,
after I didn't back my boy Justin Fields last week in Survivor, there's no way I'm not backing my boy Josh Allen, who I wanted the Jets to take over Sam Darnold. Very, very salty about that. Love Josh Allen coming out. So I'm backing the Bills here hard, minus the 2.5. A little bit, I don't feel as great about it. Again, if the Jags or the Steelers lose and the Bills are still in the playoffs. But if both those teams win and the Bills are playing for everything on the line, win or go home, the 2 seed to nothing, I think Josh Allen, McDermott, and the Bills get it done against the Dolphins in a huge, huge, huge game, which will be awesome to watch. It'll be great. We get Sunday Night Football, which they flexed, obviously. Buffalo versus the Dolphins. And then the next day we get the national championship game in college football. And I already told you I like Washington and the over in that game. So let's go. Buffalo minus the 2.5 to close it off. And we added 2 picks. So let's recap, guys. The picks for week 18. We have starting Saturday, the Steelers minus 3. We actually added that pick too late. So wait, we might have 9 picks. Steelers minus 3, Saints minus 3, Jets pass under 30.5, Seattle minus 3, Eagles Giants over 41.5, Giants plus 5.5, Chargers minus 3.5, Rams plus 4, and Buffalo minus 2.5. So yes, we have 9 picks. Added 3 picks here late with the Steelers minus 3, Seattle minus 3, and the Jets pat under 30.5. So again, 64, 54, and 2. On the year, 54.6%. And my man Josh Abner, go follow him on Twitter. This guy absolutely makes great picks. I got to get him on the show, actually. He says under is the play, but Belichick has a grudge against the Jets. Always save things in back pocket for them. When is the last time he lost to the Jets? Exactly. I was going to take New England, and I could, certainly see them just dominating this game, especially Trevor Siemian. I mean, he's freaking terrible. So I would definitely lean Pats. I just, obviously as a Jet fan, it kind of makes me not want to take the Pats a little bit. But I was going to take the Pats here. But then I looked, Bailey Zappi against the Jets defense. What if the Jets defense is motivated? And the Jets obviously going to want to win this game against the Patriots too. So that's why I stayed away from it. And then Josh says Phoenix is your first round pick. Best QB. Reed's defense is fast, and he's playing with a hurt shoulder. Plus 190 on the money line. Yeah, man. I like it. I agree, Josh. I think Phoenix has looked really, really good. I mean, that game really, really impressed me and sold me on Phoenix. So I'm all with you on that pick. I look forward to seeing your picks as well. But that's going to do it, guys. Again, week 18 picks. Follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. Thanks for joining me tonight. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the games. Enjoy the national championship on Monday. We'll see you back next week for the NFL playoff wild card round picks. I'll be on with Anthony over on the Face Off Sports Network. This will also, again, be streamed on the Face Off Sports Network, Spotify, Apple. So check that out. Like and subscribe. Follow me on X at Fantasy Savvy. See you guys next week. Take care.